The Galactic Council convened on the alien planet of Vortigern, a place known for its breathtaking landscapes and looming mountains. Today, however, the beauty of Vortigern was overshadowed by an atmosphere of fear and tension. Representatives from various alien species gathered in the Grand Hall, their faces reflecting a mixture of anxiety and dread. At the head of the council table sat Zorthak, the alien god king, a figure of immense power and fury. His reputation for wrath was known throughout the galaxy, and today many feared that wrath would be directed at them. As the meeting began, murmurs filled the hall. Zorthak's piercing eyes scanned the crowd, and silence fell like a heavy curtain. The alien leaders shuffled in their seats, each one anxious about what the God King might demand. Whispers of his recent threats echoed in their minds. Tales of worlds burned to ashes for mere disobedience. Today, they were gathered to discuss the rising tensions among the council members, but all they could think about was Zorthak's temper. Among them was Ambassador Sarah Kane, a human diplomat. She was new to the Galactic Council and felt the weight of her species' reputation on her shoulders. Humanity had faced its own challenges and fears, but Sarah believed in the power of words and diplomacy. Her heart raced as she prepared to speak. She knew the stakes were high. The fate of her people and many others hung in the balance. As the council meeting progressed, Zorthak slammed his fist on the table, causing a tremor to shake through the hall. "You are all weak," he thundered. "You fear me and you fear each other. This council must show loyalty or face the consequences. I will not tolerate disobedience." His voice was deep and resonant, echoing off the walls. The leaders shrank back in their seats, eyes wide with fear. One by one, the representatives began to speak, their voices shaky. "We must find a way to appease you, Zorthak," pleaded a tall, blue-skinned alien with large, expressive eyes. "Perhaps if we provide more resources?" His voice trailed off as Zorthak glared at him, silencing him with a mere glance. Another leader, a stout creature with a rocky exterior, stammered, "We will pledge our loyalty, great king. Just please do not destroy our worlds." Panic spread like wildfire through the room as leaders began to offer their allegiance, each more desperate than the last. Sarah watched the scene unfold with growing concern. The fear in the room was palpable, and she felt it pressing down on her chest. It was clear that Zorthak thrived on their fear, using it to maintain his power. But she believed there was another way. She remembered stories of humans who had stood up against overwhelming odds, stories that inspired her to act. Taking a deep breath, Sarah stood up, her heart pounding. She could feel every pair of eyes turning toward her. "Zorthak!" she called out, her voice steady despite the quaking in her stomach. "I understand your power, but you must consider the consequences of your threats. Fear will not bring loyalty, it will only bring chaos." Gasps rippled through the council. Zorthak's expression shifted from anger to surprise. "Who dares to speak to me like that?" he demanded, his tone still fierce but laced with curiosity. "I am Sarah Kane, Ambassador of Earth," she replied boldly. "I know what fear can do to people. It can blind us to the truth. You are strong, but true strength lies in unity, not domination." The hall fell silent, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife. Zorthak leaned back in his chair, studying her closely. The representatives exchanged glances, some filled with hope, others still gripped by fear. Sarah's heart raced as she realized the risk she had taken. In that moment, she understood that the path ahead would not be easy. The storm of fear swirled around them, but perhaps, just perhaps, her words could bring a ray of hope. As the silence stretched on, Sarah stood tall, ready to face whatever consequences awaited her. The gathering storm was just beginning. The silence in the Grand Hall of the Galactic Council was deafening after Sarah Kane's bold words. Zorthak, the alien god king, stared at her, his piercing gaze filled with a mix of curiosity and rage. The representatives around the table shifted uncomfortably in their seats, their eyes darting between Sarah and Zorthak. Fear hung heavy in the air, pressing down on everyone like a thick fog. Zorthak broke the silence first. "You speak of unity, human, but how can I trust those who bow to me only out of fear?" His voice echoed through the hall, filled with authority. The other leaders shifted in their seats, the tension rising like a volcano ready to erupt. Sarah felt her heart race. This was her moment. She took a deep breath, gathering her thoughts. "Great King, I believe that trust can be built through understanding. If we work together, we can create a stronger galaxy, one where all species thrive without fear of punishment. The alien leaders exchanged glances, some nodding while others frowned. Zorthak leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. And what makes you think your kind can bring such change? Humans are often seen as reckless and unpredictable. His challenge hung in the air like a storm cloud, ready to unleash its fury. The blue-skinned leader from before, who had hesitated during Zorthak's earlier outburst, finally spoke up. Perhaps we should listen to her? The humans have shown resilience in their history. They fought against great odds and came out stronger. Maybe they can guide us. Or lead us to our doom! Zorthak barked, slamming his fist on the table again. The sound reverberated through the room, sending shivers down the spines of those present. You all speak of change, but I do not see it in your eyes. Fear is what binds us, and it is what will keep us in line. Sarah's mind raced. She knew that Zorthak's fear was rooted in insecurity. He needed respect, not just compliance. She had to shift the conversation back to hope. But fear is not a lasting solution, she urged. It creates enemies where there could be allies. Let us take this opportunity to unite, to prove that we can work together for a brighter future. Zorthak's expression darkened. You speak as if this is a game, human. But I will not play with the lives of my people or yours. If you wish to persuade me, you must do better. He leaned back, crossing his arms, a sign that the conversation was not going the way he had hoped. The atmosphere grew even tenser. Leaders exchanged worried looks, and whispers of doubt spread through the hall. What if she fails? One leader whispered. What if we end up in greater danger? Sarah could sense the growing unease among the council members. They were afraid to follow her, afraid of the consequences if Zorthak rejected her words. She needed to show them that unity was possible, even in the face of such a powerful ruler. Let me propose a challenge, Sarah suggested, her voice steady and calm. If I cannot convince you, Zorthak, then I will accept any punishment you deem fit for my failure. But if I succeed, will you agree to work together for the future? Zorthak raised an eyebrow, intrigued. A challenge? Very well, but know this. If you fail, I will not show mercy. The room buzzed with excitement and fear. Sarah felt the weight of the moment. She knew this was her chance to turn the tide, but the stakes were incredibly high. If she failed, it could mean destruction for her people and countless others. As Zorthak considered her offer, Sarah's mind raced with ideas. She had to gather the support of the other leaders, convince them that a united front could change the outcome. They had to be willing to take a risk, to believe in a future free from fear. Let us prepare for this challenge, Sarah declared, her voice rising above the murmur of the crowd. Together, we will show Zorthak that our strength lies in our unity. We will not be ruled by fear any longer. With those words, Sarah felt a spark of hope ignite within her. She glanced around the room, searching for allies among the diverse leaders. The path ahead was uncertain, but she was ready to fight for a brighter future, one where fear did not dictate their choices. The tension in the hall was thick, but for the first time, there was a flicker of hope. The storm clouds of fear were beginning to part, revealing a glimmer of possibility for change. As the sun set over Vortigern, casting a golden hue over the grand hall, the atmosphere was electric with anticipation. Sarah Kane had taken on the challenge set forth by Zorthak, the alien god king, and the other council members were buzzing with curiosity and concern. The stakes were high, and Sarah knew she needed a solid plan to prove that unity among the species was possible. In the days that followed, Sarah gathered representatives from various alien species in secret meetings. Each leader brought their own fears and hopes, and she listened carefully to their concerns. The tall, blue-skinned leader, named Jarek, expressed his doubts about Zorthak's willingness to change. What if he is only playing with us? Jarek asked, his large eyes filled with worry. What if he has no intention of listening? We can't let fear stop us, Sarah replied, determined. We must show him that we are united. If we can work together to present a proposal that benefits all our species, he may have no choice but to listen. The group brainstormed ideas, pooling their knowledge and resources. They discussed trade agreements, shared technology, and even ideas about joint military forces to protect against common threats. With each discussion, Sarah could see the hope growing in their eyes. They were beginning to believe in the possibility of a brighter future. However, time was running out. The council meeting was set for the following week, and Sarah needed to solidify their plan. As the day of the meeting approached, she could feel the tension building. She wanted to inspire confidence in the leaders, but deep down, she feared the consequences of failure. On the morning of the council meeting, Sarah stood before a large gathering of representatives, her heart racing. "Today, we are not just speaking as individuals, but as a united front," she began, her voice strong. "We have come together to present a proposal that shows we can work for the greater good of all species. This is our chance to prove to Zorthak that fear can be replaced with respect and cooperation." The other leaders nodded, their faces showing a mix of determination and anxiety. Yarek stepped forward, taking a deep breath. "We have created a plan that includes trade agreements and the sharing of technology. We want to build a future where we can all thrive together instead of living in fear of one another." As the leaders took turns presenting their ideas, Sarah watched Zorthak closely. He remained silent, his expression unreadable. The tension in the room was palpable, and she could sense the anxiety among the leaders. Would their words be enough to sway him? When the last leader finished speaking, Zorthak finally spoke. "You all have made valid points," he said slowly, his voice steady. "But I need to know what you offer me in return. Why should I consider your proposal? What do I gain from this alliance?" Sarah felt a knot tighten in her stomach. This was the moment she had feared. "Great King, we offer you respect and loyalty. With our cooperation, your power will only grow stronger. We can protect each other against outside threats. Together, we can create a coalition that no one dares to challenge." Zorthak studied her intently, his eyes narrowing. "And if I refuse? What then?" he challenged, his tone laced with suspicion. Sarah could feel the weight of the room on her shoulders. "If you refuse, you risk losing the support of those who fear you. An empire built on fear is destined to crumble. Together we can create a legacy that lasts." A murmur rippled through the hall. Zorthak's expression remained stern, but Sarah could see a flicker of interest in his eyes. "You speak boldly, human, but words are only words until they are backed by actions. I will give you one chance. You must prove your worth by sending a representative from each species to stand with me in the face of an outside threat. If you succeed, I will consider your proposal. If not..." His voice trailed off, leaving an air of uncertainty. Sarah's heart raced. This was a gamble, but it was their only option. "We accept your challenge, Zorthak. We will stand together." With a nod, Zorthak dismissed the council for the day, but a new sense of purpose filled the air. The representatives, inspired by Sarah's bravery, began to discuss their strategy. They were united, ready to face whatever challenge lay ahead. As Sarah walked out of the hall, she felt a mixture of excitement and dread. This was just the beginning of their fight for unity. The real test was still to come, and she would do everything in her power to prove that together they could overcome even the greatest of challenges. The day of the challenge had arrived. Sarah Kane stood on the vast training grounds of Vortigern, her heart racing. Beside her were representatives from different species, each one representing their race's hopes and fears. They had all come together for this moment, ready to face the looming threat that Zorthak had promised. The alien soldiers lined up across the field, their expressions serious and determined. Each species brought their own skills to the challenge: the swift Draxians, known for their agility, the sturdy Feroxians, famous for their strength, and the intelligent Lunarians, masters of strategy. Together, they formed a powerful alliance, but doubt still lingered in Sarah's mind. As the sun rose higher in the sky, Zorthak appeared on a raised platform, his imposing figure silhouetted against the light. "You stand here today to prove your worth," he declared, his voice echoing across the field. "An outside threat will test your unity. If you succeed, I will consider your proposal. If you fail, you will regret challenging me." Sarah felt the weight of his words pressing down on her. "We can do this," she whispered to the representatives beside her. "We have trained together. We know each other's strengths and weaknesses." Zorthak's gaze pierced through the crowd, a mixture of skepticism and curiosity. "The challenge begins now!" he shouted. And with that, the atmosphere shifted from anticipation to action. Suddenly, a massive ship descended from the sky, landing with a thunderous roar. The ground shook and dust filled the air. From the ship emerged a group of armored warriors known as the Gorthens, notorious for their ruthless tactics and desire to conquer. They brandished weapons, ready to fight. The representatives exchanged nervous glances, but Sarah stepped forward, her voice steady. "Stay together! Remember our training! We can outsmart them!" She felt the energy shift. Her confidence inspired them. They formed a protective circle, their weapons at the ready. The Gorthons charged, their leader bellowing a battle cry. Foolish beings. You dare to defy us? Sarah took a deep breath, focusing on their plan. The Lunarians had suggested a diversion, and she quickly signaled to their fastest fighters, the Draxians. They dashed to the side, drawing the Gorthans' attention away from the main group. As the Gorthons turned, the Phyroxians launched an attack, using their brute strength to hold the line. Now! Sarah shouted, and the representatives sprang into action. The Draxians flanked the Gorthans, while the Lunarians coordinated their efforts from the rear. They communicated seamlessly, executing their plan with precision. The training had paid off. As the battle raged on, Sarah noticed that Zorthak was watching intently from the platform. His expression was unreadable, but she could feel the tension in the air. If they succeeded, it would prove that they were not just a collection of species, but a true alliance. The fight intensified. One of the Gorthans managed to break through their defenses, heading straight for Sarah. Panic surged within her, but she quickly steadied herself. I won't let fear win, she thought. With a quick move, Sarah grabbed a nearby weapon, a sleek energy blade. She had trained with it before, but never in such a high-stakes situation. As the Gorthon charged, she remembered her training. She sidestepped, using the Gorthon's momentum against him. In one swift motion, she struck, knocking the warrior off balance. The Gorthon stumbled, and in that moment a Phyroxian warrior rushed in to deliver the finishing blow. The Gorthon fell, and the tide began to turn. Inspired by Sarah's bravery, the other representatives fought harder, rallying together. They moved as one, outsmarting the Gorthons at every turn. Slowly, the Gorthons began to retreat, their numbers dwindling. As the last of the Gorthons fled, cheers erupted from the representatives. They had done it! They had united and fought together, proving that their alliance was strong. Sarah felt a wave of relief wash over her. They had overcome the challenge. Zorthak descended from his platform, a slow smile spreading across his face. You have impressed me, humans and allies, he said, his tone softer than before. Perhaps there is more to your kind than I believed. Sarah stepped forward, filled with hope. Great King, we can work together. Let this be the beginning of a new era, one built on respect and cooperation. Zorthak nodded, his eyes gleaming with intrigue. You may have won this battle, but the real challenge lies ahead. I will consider your proposal. Together we may just change the fate of the galaxy. With those words, Sarah felt a spark of hope ignite within her. The turning point had come, and now the future seemed brighter than ever. Together, they had fought and triumphed. The alliance had been tested and proven, and Sarah knew this was only the beginning of their journey. The atmosphere in the Grand Hall of Vortigern was electric. Representatives from various species gathered, their faces filled with anticipation and hope. After their stunning victory against the Gorthans, everyone felt a sense of unity that had never been experienced before. Sarah Kane stood at the center of it all, her heart pounding with excitement. Zorthak, the alien god king, sat on his throne, looking more approachable than he had in the past. His imposing figure no longer seemed threatening, but rather inspiring. The entire council awaited his decision on the proposal that Sarah and the representatives had crafted together. Today, you have shown great courage, Zorthak began, his deep voice resonating through the hall. You have proven that you can work together in the face of adversity. This alliance you propose could change the galaxy forever. A hush fell over the crowd. Sarah could feel the tension in the air. She stepped forward, her voice steady. Great King, we believe that by uniting our strengths, we can create a force for peace and progress. Together, we can defend our worlds against threats and share our knowledge for the betterment of all species. Zorthak nodded slowly, considering her words. But such an alliance must be built on trust and mutual respect. I will not force my people into an agreement without understanding your true intentions. Of course, Sarah replied. Trust takes time, and we are willing to earn it. We propose regular meetings and open channels of communication so that all species can share their ideas and concerns. The Phyroxian leader, Gromak, stepped forward. We can establish trade routes that benefit everyone. Sharing our resources will strengthen our ties and ensure our survival in this harsh galaxy. The Lunarian representative, Alara, added, We can work together on research and technology, enhancing our capabilities and understanding. Imagine what we could achieve. Zorthak listened, his eyes narrowing in thought. The council members exchanged glances, their hopes rising with each passing moment. "Your ideas are intriguing," he said finally, "but there must be a demonstration of commitment. I will send envoys from my kingdom to each of your worlds. If they are welcomed and treated with respect, it will show me that you are serious about this alliance." Sarah felt a wave of relief wash over her. "Thank you, great king. We will ensure that your envoys are treated with the utmost respect. We will show you that our intentions are genuine." Zorthak's gaze turned serious. "Remember, this is not just a treaty, it is a pledge to stand together. If one of you is attacked, all of you must respond. This unity is essential." As he spoke, the representatives nodded in agreement. They understood the importance of Zorthak's words. This was not just about politics, it was about survival in a galaxy full of unknown dangers. The mood in the hall shifted from tension to excitement. Zorthak raised his hand, silencing the crowd. "I will officially recognize this alliance and support your endeavors. Together we can bring peace and prosperity to our worlds." Cheers erupted, filling the hall with joy and celebration. Sarah felt tears of happiness welling in her eyes. They had achieved something remarkable. The alliance was no longer a dream, it was a reality. After the council meeting, the representatives gathered to discuss their next steps. They formed committees to plan for the arrival of Zorthak's envoys. Each species began sharing its unique resources and knowledge. Sarah watched in awe as the once divided leaders united, ready to face the future together. In the weeks that followed, the envoys arrived on various planets. They were met with warm welcomes and shared meals, fostering trust and camaraderie. As Sarah observed these interactions, she realized that their unity was becoming more than just a political agreement. It was transforming into a friendship. One evening, while watching the stars from the balcony of her quarters, Sarah reflected on how far they had come. The alliance had brought hope to many, and she felt a sense of purpose swell within her. They were not just allies, they were a family of species working toward a common goal. Just then, a gentle knock interrupted her thoughts. It was Zorthak, his expression softer than before. "Sarah," he said, stepping onto the balcony, "I wanted to thank you personally. Your bravery inspired not just your people, but mine as well." Sarah smiled, her heart swelling with pride. "Thank you, great king. It was a team effort. We all believed in this vision of unity." "Indeed," Zorthak replied, "and I believe together we can face whatever challenges come our way. The galaxy is vast and full of unknowns, but with our alliance we stand a chance." As the stars twinkled above them, Sarah knew they were just beginning a new chapter. Together they would navigate the complexities of the galaxy, united in purpose and friendship. Their story was one of hope, courage, and the belief that unity could conquer fear. The future lay ahead, bright and full of possibilities.